everyone. Ready for a deep dive that might leave you feeling a little uneasy?
Oh, definitely uneasy.
We're tackling Compliance, that 2012 film that'll have you questioning everything. And I don't just mean the plot.
It gets under your skin, that's for sure. What's so fascinating about Compliance, though, is how it takes this, I mean, you could say ridiculous premise,
Yeah.
prank caller manipulating a fast food manager into doing all these increasingly disturbing things. But it shows just how easily our own minds can be, kind of tricked, exploited.
Okay, so, paint the picture for us. We're at your average chick witch, right?
Right.
Busy Friday night, and the manager, Sandra, is already dealing with, a huge food spoilage issue.
Oh, yeah.
So not exactly starting off on a calm note.
No, not at all. And that baseline stress that she's under, that's really important. It makes her more vulnerable.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So then, bam, enter Officer Daniels. That voice on the phone throws everything into chaos. He claims a young cashier, Becky, stole from a customer and that he's working with, corporate. Right away, he's hitting all these pressure points.
Okay, just hearing you describe it, I'm already kind of getting anxious. But wouldn't most people be skeptical? Why doesn't she just hang up, call the cops herself?
Well, that's where the brilliance of the film comes in, and sadly, the reality of these scams.
Yeah.
Officer Daniels doesn't just say, "I'm a cop." He uses specific, really deliberate language. Mentions these fake protocols, name drops people higher up in Chickwitch.
Ah, okay.
He uses that corporate structure that Sandra's bound by to make her feel like she's trapped.
So it's not just blind faith in a badge. It's about creating this whole web of obligation and fear, right?
Yeah, fear of the consequences.
Fear of consequences, yeah.
So Sandra is already on edge, and now she's facing potential, legal trouble for the restaurant, disciplinary action from corporate. Her rational mind is getting hijacked by stress and this desire to do what's right, whatever Officer Daniels is telling her is right.
Right. And this is where it all starts to go downhill, right? The demands keep escalating, starting with detaining Becky, but then going into, things that most of us would say are way over the line.
Way over the line. And this is where we see this chilling connection to the Milgram experiments.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Remember those?
Mm-hmm.
Milgram showed that people would inflict pain on others just because someone they saw as an authority figure told them to.
Right.
Compliance takes that idea out of the lab and into this really, believable setting. And that's what makes it so unsettling.
It makes me think about Becky's role in this whole thing. I mean, she's clearly the victim here and she's obviously distressed. But her coworkers, they just ignore her protests. It's like they've completely dehumanized her.
It's the bystander effect. The more people there are involved, the less any one person feels personally responsible for stepping in.
Makes sense.
Plus, they've already bought into Officer Daniels as the real deal. So to them, Becky's just some guilty teenager ranting.
So we've got Sandra trapped by this idea of authority, her own sense of duty, and her coworkers are basically frozen by the bystander effect. It's this awful recipe for disaster. Where does the movie take us from here?
Oh, it just keeps getting worse. The tension keeps ratcheting up as Officer Daniels draws in more people, including Sandra's fiancé, Van.
Oh, no.
And this is where we see the foot in the door technique, in full force.
Okay, break that down for us. What does foot in the door mean exactly?
It's a classic manipulation tactic. You start with a small request, something that seems totally reasonable. Once you get that compliance, you ask for something a little bigger, then bigger and bigger, until you've got them doing things they never would have even considered at the beginning.
And in Compliance, we see that play out not just with Sandra, but with multiple characters. Each step, while definitely disturbing, is framed as necessary by Officer Daniels, building on their previous obedience.
Absolutely. By the time Van is involved, we're talking about things that are humiliating and maybe even criminal.
Yeah.
But the film, it doesn't show these people as evil or anything.
Right.
Which is what makes it even more disturbing, I think.
This is honestly making my head spin a little. It's like a masterclass in how not to fall for manipulation, but also, a terrifying look at how easy it would be to fall for it.
Exactly. And that's why we got to keep digging deeper. Compliance is not just a movie. It's reflecting real psychological and sociological forces. And knowing how they work, that's the first step in fighting back.
This is getting intense.
Yeah.
We'll be right back after a quick break. Back again, and we're still reeling from the messed up world of Compliance.
Yeah, seriously messed up.
This film really forces us to face how vulnerable we are to manipulation, and it's crazy because it's not even coming from someone, like, obviously powerful, you know?
Right, and what's even more disturbing is this isn't just some made-up Hollywood stuff.
Oh, no.
Compliance is actually based on real events.
No way.
Series of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Including this, like, super creepy case that happened at a McDonald's in Kentucky back in 2004.
Are you serious? You're telling me this kind of thing actually happened, like, for real?
Dead serious.
Yeah.
And the details are, I mean, they're freakishly close to what we see in the movie. A guy pretended to be a cop, called the restaurant,
Wow.
accused an employee of stealing,
Yeah.
and then, like, basically mind controlled the manager into doing all sorts of invasive and just humiliating things.
That's just, I can't even, it's like knowing it really happened makes the movie hit even harder. You
Oh,
know, it's
right.
like all of a sudden those characters on screen are less, movie characters and more like, I don't know, people we could actually know.
The people we could be. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's scary to think about.
Okay, so we've got to like break this down. What can we learn from compliance to avoid ending up in a situation like that? What are the warning signs we should be looking for?
I think one of the biggest takeaways, really, is how important it is to question authority.
You mean like even if it's a police officer?
Even then.
Mm.
And look, it's not about being disrespectful or breaking the law or anything like that. It's about having a healthy sense of, skepticism. Remembering that even people in positions of power, they can make mistakes.
Right.
Or worse, be intentionally deceptive.
But wouldn't that be like dangerous? Questioning a cop? I mean, what if you're wrong and they're actually legitimate?
There's always a risk, yeah.
Mm.
But blind obedience comes with its own set of risks, as we see in compliance, right?
Sure.
It's about finding that balance between, like, respecting authority and protecting yourself.
This is tricky, man.
It is.
So how do we find that balance? How do we develop that kind of like critical thinking, especially when we're under pressure?
Well, I think it starts with awareness. The more we understand the tactics these manipulators use, the more we can spot them in real life.
Okay, so give us some examples. How did Officer Daniels in compliance manage to get so much control over these people? What was he doing?
He used a bunch of techniques that are like textbook manipulation.
Mm.
First, he established his, authority right off the bat, said he was a cop, name-dropped higher-ups at the company, used all this official-sounding jargon,
Right.
all to make Sandra feel like she had no choice but to do what he said.
So basically, he wanted her to believe he was the real deal, and questioning him would, like, have serious consequences.
Exactly. He also created this sense of urgency, like pressuring her to act fast without giving her any time to really think it through.
And didn't he, like, keep escalating the situation, pushing Sandra further and further out of her comfort zone with each new demand?
Oh yeah, classic manipulation tactic. It's called foot in the door.
Yeah.
You start small with something that seems reasonable, and once you get them to comply, you raise the stakes, little by little, leading them down this path they never would have imagined.
It's just so sneaky because each step, although disturbing, is presented as like, this is necessary,
Well-
this is justified, and it's building on their previous obedience.
Right, exactly.
So besides questioning authority and being aware of these like mind games, are there any other things we can do to protect ourselves?
Yeah, definitely. One of the most important is to try to get some independent verification.
Yeah.
Like in the movie, Sandra could have easily stopped things from escalating by just calling the police department or the corporate office herself to check if the caller was legit.
Right, that makes sense. But I can imagine, like, in that moment, it's hard to think straight when you're stressed and under pressure.
Absolutely. That's why it can help to kind of have a plan in place beforehand, like a mental checklist of what to do if you find yourself in a situation that just feels off.
So, like, if someone calls claiming to be in charge and starts making demands, I will.
Yep, exactly. Having a plan can help you stay calm and rational even when things are getting crazy.
Okay, so we've got questioning authority, recognizing those manipulation tricks, trying to get independent confirmation, and having a plan. Anything else we can add to our arsenal?
Trust your gut. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't ignore those instincts.
It's like so many of us have been taught to second-guess ourselves, especially when it comes to people in authority.
It's true, but it's important to remember you always have the right to say no. Even if the person's claiming to be a cop or some other authority figure, you can refuse to do something if you feel it's wrong or unsafe.
That's powerful. You're saying we need to take back our own sense of agency in those situations.
Yes. And remember, real authority figures will understand and respect your need to double-check or get some clarification. If they get all defensive or try to pressure you even more, That's a huge GE red flag.
My mind is blown. I'm looking at the world a little differently now.
That's the power of understanding these psychological things. Once you see them, you can start to break them down and protect yourself from becoming a victim.
And that's what makes compliance so powerful, right? It makes us confront these uncomfortable truths about human nature and think about how we can make better choices when faced with manipulation.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, and understanding how manipulators work can empower us to make smarter decisions and live better lives.
But still, that question just sits there. If we were in the same boat, at what point would we start questioning? How do we build up that resistance to manipulation?
It's a question we all need to ask ourselves, and honestly, there's no easy answer. But talking about it, like we're doing now, is a good start.
So having these conversations, sharing our thoughts and experiences, that makes us more aware and more prepared.
Exactly. And by looking at films like Compliance, we can turn a really messed up story into a valuable lesson.
We're back, still kind of deep in the unsettling world of compliance.
Yeah, it's a film that sticks with you, that's for sure.
It really makes you think, like, how susceptible are we to being manipulated, even when it seems totally ridiculous?
It's easy to watch and be like, nope, not me. I'd never fall for that. But, the thing is, these tactics, they work because they're tapping into, like, our deepest psychological wiring.
It's like the film's showing us our blind spots, the parts of us that want to believe,
Yeah.
that trust authority, the parts that are afraid to make waves.
Exactly. And those very human impulses, that's where manipulators find their way in.
Right.
What's so effective about Compliance is that the characters aren't portrayed as, like, dummies or pushovers.
Right, exactly.
That makes it even more, well, disturbing.
I've been wrestling with this question the whole time we've been talking. Like, where's the line between respecting authority and just blindly obeying? How do we, build up that internal alarm system, the one that goes off when something's truly wrong?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And there's no simple answer. But one thing Compliance shows us is that manipulation thrives in isolation.
Oh.
Think about how Officer Daniels keeps everyone separated. He doesn't want them comparing notes, questioning his story.
That's so true. He even uses that isolation as a weapon, turning people against each other, making them doubt themselves.
So if we're talking about building resistance to this kind of manipulation, I think it starts with connection, having open communication with people you trust.
Friends, family, people at work.
Exactly. Creating spaces where it's safe to question things, share doubts, get a reality check.
Like having people you can bounce things off of, be like, hey, is this normal?
Right. Because sometimes it's that outside perspective that helps us break out of the manipulator's, spell. We need those voices to remind us of our own values, our boundaries, when someone's trying to erase them.
It makes me think about how manipulators often target people who are already in vulnerable situations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look at Sandra in Compliance. She's stressed, under pressure from corporate. The situation's already chaotic.
Right. All of that makes her more susceptible to, falling for Officer Daniels.
To his game, yeah.
So it's not just about being, smart or strong-willed. It's recognizing that certain situations make us all more vulnerable.
And being extra cautious in those moments.
Which is where self-awareness comes in. Knowing your own, triggers, what makes you tick, that can be powerful.
For sure. If you know you tend to crumble under pressure, practice standing up for yourself. If you're a people pleaser, remind yourself it's okay to say no, even to someone who seems like they're in charge.
This whole deep dive has been a real eye-opener. I went into this thinking Compliance was just, a shocking story, but it's really like a guide to understanding how these subtle forms of manipulation work and how to fight back.
That's a great way to put it. It's not an easy film to watch, but it's an important one.
So before we wrap up, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this? The most powerful weapon against manipulation? What would you say it is?
I'd say it's a mix of critical thinking and action. Question everything. Check things out for yourself. Trust your gut. And never, ever be afraid to say no. And, maybe most importantly, don't underestimate the power of connecting with others, sharing your experiences, building a support system.
That's great advice. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into compliance. Hopefully you've all gotten a new perspective on how manipulation works and the tools you need to protect yourselves. Stay curious, stay connected, and stay empowered.
Today is your lucky day. Today is the day that our $3 website works for you, paying you directly to your PayPal daily. Imagine $3 ongoing continuous payments to your PayPal account. Imagine falling asleep and waking up to $300 in your PayPal account. How would this make you feel? How could this help you? What bills could you pay? What kind of fun could you have? What does that retirement look like now? All for a one-time payment of $3. This website is DFY done for you, fully built and completely hosted, and never stops collecting payments for you. You have spent $3 on coffee on a regular, but that coffee won't help you create multiple streams of income. Click the link below.